Hey everybody! Okay, I think we're good to go. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank y'all for rolling with everything tonight. So, okay, I think we're good to go. So, thank y'all for letting me jump on late. It's been kind of a crazy day. But anyways, we're here now. Thank y'all for your grace and me jumping on later than usual. And we are in our new house, so our setup's a little bit different. If you're noticing that like the video looks different, yes it does, because I haven't got it all set up yet. However, it's good enough for tonight. So thank y'all again for just tuning in. Thank y'all for supporting Freedom Church. This is our Wednesday night Devo. My name is Kelsey, if you haven't met me yet, and I will be bringing tonight's Devo. So yay! All right, and I'm seeing, just if y'all see me get a little bit distracted, I see some pop-ups on Jacob's computer because we haven't quite figured out all the setting up all this quite yet in the new studio. So if you see me get distracted, just be like, oh, something popped up on her computer. But I'm gonna do my best to ignore it. It's just hard whenever like pops up, so I'm making sure I'm not breaking all of his very expensive equipment. Regardless, okay. So tonight, what I wanted to share with you guys about, it's actually something that has God's kind of been working on with me for a minute. So the first time that God kind of was like schooling me on this subject, it was whenever the Spurs and the Knicks were playing in the NBA playoffs. Sadly, the Spurs lost, I know. We're cheated. Anyways, regardless, we're gonna come back this next year. It's gonna be good. But as I was, as we were watching like the playoffs go on, right? So you could tell who were fans based on their jerseys. Like you could tell the Spurs fans based on what they wore, and the Knicks fans. Like that's how you could tell who was rooting for whatever team. And I remember whenever I was watching one of the games, and it's whenever it was one of the games that the Spurs won, and the Knicks fans were like destroying stuff and public property and whatnot. And I remember thinking, I'm just like, what an awful way to represent your team and where you live. Like, how it's awful that you're so upset that you're gonna go destroy stuff, and then they even destroyed stuff when they won. So it's like it was this whole thing that I was like, do y'all ever like have these conversations with God when you're just like, God, why did that happen? Like, explain this. Like, why is this happening? Why do mosquitoes exist? Why did you create flies? Like, I mean, like, do y'all ever ask God questions like that? And you're just like, why? And anyways, I was just like, awful. How awful that they did that. Like, like why would they do this? And God kind of was like schooling me, and he was like, well, it's the same thing. He was like, some people be wearing Christian jerseys too and acting crazy, and it's not a good representation of the team. And I was just like, oof. So, and it's true. So many people claim to be Christians, but they don't act very Christian-like. They're not out there, doing their WWJD. Like, I mean, they're doing whatever they want to do. They're not acting like Jesus, and it's a bad representation of the kingdom because they're saying who they're connected to, but they're not acting like it. And then again, whenever all of like the World Cup stuff was happening, like the soccer World Cup and everything, and everybody was here in America, and there's so many different teams, and the only way that you would know who you were rooting for is based on the jerseys. You saw people everywhere having all the different jerseys from their countries. And again, like, it just kind of reminded me of that conversation of your jersey represents what team you're on. And even now, as we're getting into now the school year, and everyone's always like, make good choices, like, make good choices, like, as you go into the school year, be nice to others, stand up for those who are bullied, and speak kindly to people no matter what, like, telling all these kids these things. But y'all, the same rules applies for the adults, like, not just kids, but also adults too. And what God was just kind of showing me as I was just like, as he was like schooling me on this subject, is that every single choice that we make is a representation of the team that we're on. Because in the book, I'm going to say Ephesians. I don't know it off the top of my head. I want to say it's Ephesians. But it's the verse where it's, we don't battle against flesh and blood, but against a spiritual enemy, right? So we're not really against each other. It's God versus the enemy. Now, what we know is that God's already won. Like, the enemy's already defeated. Even, and I do know this one, and whenever Jesus was sent, whenever he was talking, and he was just like, hey, take heart, I've already overcome the world. Like, God's already won the battle. We're just not in that chapter yet. Like, Revelation has not played out fully, right? So, anyways, with that, the enemy's trying to take down as many people as he can. He's already lost, and he's a sore loser, and so what he's trying to do is he's trying to take as many people down with him as he can, because misery loves company. And so with that, every single decision that we make, it's like putting on a jersey of whose team you're on. So, and remember, there's only two teams. There's God's team and there's the enemy's team. It's very black and white. There is no gray area. It's this side or that side. And what these choices can look like, it's our everyday actions. It's how we choose to talk to people, and like within your family. Like, how do you talk to your spouse? How do you talk to your kids? How do you talk to the person that's taking your order at the restaurant? How do you talk to the person that's, helping you with your gas at the gas station? Like, how are you treating people in these day-to-day interactions? Whose jersey are you wearing? When you're having these interactions with people, are you wearing your Jesus jersey or are you wearing your Spawn of Satan jersey? Like, which person are you highlighting in your everyday interactions with people? Because y'all, there's so many people nowadays that do not like Christians because they've had a bad experience with Christians. And that should not be happening. We're called to be the light of the world. We're supposed to be, like we're supposed to live like Jesus and love people like Jesus. But yet so many people have had a bad encounter with Christians, so therefore they have like completely sworn off Christianity because they're like, well, if they act like that and they treat me this way, I don't want any part of that. And it's because of those bad interactions, because of the choices those people made, and they were not wearing the right jersey. So in our day-to-day interactions, how we're treating people, but also the things, y'all, what we're feeding ourselves and what we're speaking over our life and into the lives of others. In Proverbs 18, it has that verse where it's, like the power of life and death lie in the tongue, and those who love to talk will reap the consequences. So there is power in what we say, not only to others, but also to ourselves. So even be more conscious in the choices that you're making and what you're choosing to surround yourself with. Like even your choices as like what music you're playing in the car. What music are you playing in the car as you're riding around? Y'all, there's stuff that I have reheard from like stuff I used to listen to when I was a teenager, and I thought I was like all punk rock and like, super edgy and all this stuff. And I listened to those songs and I'm like, I cannot believe I sang those lyrics over my life, over myself. I can't believe I aligned with those lyrics, that I would sing those types of things that were honestly like honoring the enemy. And I'm like, no, I cannot believe I did that. Like, I rebuke it, I renounce it. And whenever I think back now, but even today, the music that we listen to, the songs that we choose to sing in the car and what we sing over ourselves, you're aligning with it, you're singing it. So what are you choosing to listen to? What are you choosing to watch on TV? Like, what choices are you making whenever you are choosing your wind down show for the evening? Whose jersey are you supporting? What kind of content are you consuming on TikTok, on social media, on all these different things? Those are choices that you're making, and though it seems very small scale, those choices do add up, and it impacts your spiritual life. The more that you decide to keep your pet sin around, and the more like it's just a little bit of sin. It's just a little bit. It's not hurting anybody. It's my preference. It's just what I like. I just like this type of music. I just like this type of TV or this type of movie. It doesn't mean anything. Like for the longest time, okay, I've actually never understood why people watch scary movies. I'm like, because I don't like being scared. Like I don't do haunted houses. I don't do none of that. I do not enjoy being scared, but I know so many people that watch scary movies for like the thrill of it. They just like the adrenaline rush. But I've had conversations and I'm just like, why are you watching this? Like, look what you're inviting into your home. Look what you're allowing yourself, like your subconscious, to rest on before you go to sleep. Like, you're leaving doors open for the enemy to mess with you and mess with your mind and mess with your peace. And no, that's not how we're supposed to live. So anyways, just as you make your choices, that was what's tonight was all about, was just be mindful of the choices you're making. And if it helps you, think about it like a jersey. Every single time that you're about to make a decision, be like, all right, whose jersey am I putting on? Whenever I have this interaction with this person, am I looking like Jesus, or am I looking like one of the fake Christians that these people have issues with? Am I looking like a complete, like, absolute, like, looking just like the enemy? Like, what is it that you are representing in your everyday interactions? I know life can be frustrating. Like sometimes, like, oh y'all, listen, I was on hold for 2 hours. I was on hold for 2 hours this week. This company who we had a disagreement on a charge for our old house because we were doing our walkthrough and there was some stuff I didn't think that we were going to have to pay, and the person that gave us that information didn't give us the information right, so we do have to pay this fine, and we didn't have the money for it because we weren't prepared to pay for it. It was this whole thing. And it was a 2-hour wait, and I talked with several departments, because every person that I gave my story to, they were like, oh, sorry, we're not the department for that. We're going to send you this person to see if they can help. And I'm like, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, please, Jesus, help me because I'm so frustrated right now. I do not want to have these conversations anymore. God, I want this to be resolved. I want these answers, but please help me, like, keep my salvation as I'm having these conversations because it's not their fault, right? It's not their fault. Like anytime we have hard conversations with people in the public, it's not their fault. It's just a circumstance. But it's also like it's not their place to take our wrath. Like it's not their fault. So, anyways, I finally got to the person that could help me, and I told her well, I was led to believe this, and I did my best to like be like, okay, this is what I was told, and so I'm a little bit confused because this said this, but I'm trying not to be disrespectful, but I'm also trying to say like, I feel a little bit wronged here. And anyways, we came to a mutual understanding. Still have to pay the fine, but there's some other stuff that she helped me out with. Anyways, but it was just like it's hard. It is 100% hard. I'm not saying that it's easy to keep your cool. I'm not saying it's easy to always have the WWJD attitude. I'm not saying it's easy because it's not, y'all. We live in a fallen world and we're human. So yeah, sometimes it's hard to keep that temper under wraps. It's hard whenever people are talking smack about you. It's hard whenever you feel whenever you feel like a victim to what life has done and you're just like, please someone cut me a break. I got it. It's hard. Life is hard, and we do live in a fallen world, and one day everything's going to be perfect. We don't have to worry about it, but that's not where we're at right now, and it's difficult. What I'm saying is think about it whenever those things come up, when those choices come up, whenever you have a choice of how you can treat somebody, whenever you have a choice of, am I going to pour life into this person, or am I going to ruin their day? And not just random people. I feel like, honestly, sometimes it's easier to be nice to random people than it is to the ones that are close to us. Like, it's easier for me to have a lot of grace with the girl that maybe messed up my order at the restaurant, and I probably give her more grace than I do my husband, who I asked him for something 3 times and he still hasn't listened. Like, I probably have more grace with random people than the people that are much closer to me. But every single thing is a decision, right? It's a choice. We get to choose who we represent in every single thing. So just be mindful of that in every decision that happens this week, and don't let the enemy trick you into saying, "Oh, it doesn't really matter that much," because see, that's the thing. Because he's not just going to be, it's not going to be like this giant red flag. There's this quote, and I love it. And it's called, discernment is not between discerning what is right and what is wrong. It's discerning what is right and almost right. Because the enemy is sneaky. He's tricky. He's, master of lies. Even in the Garden of Eden, he didn't just say, yeah, go ahead and eat that. He said, did God really say you couldn't eat that? That's what he said. He's sneaky. And so he was causing Eve to have doubt. And just like you, as you are choosing to make these decisions, as you are deciding to make these conscious choices to get you closer to God, because that's what's going to happen as you make these decisions, as you continue wearing your Jesus jersey, the outcome of that is that you're going to get closer to God, and he's going to get closer to you because there's less sin in your life. And so there's more room for him. But as you do that, just know that the enemy is going to be sneaky, and he's going to put those little seeds of doubt. Well, it's not really that bad of a song. You don't mean it. Like, you're not actually going to go out drunk driving just because the song says so. Like, you're not actually going to perform these lewd acts just because you're watching it on TV. Like, that's what it's going to approach as, is it's not that bad. It's not that big of a sin. But guess what? Little wedge by little wedge still drives a gap between you and the Lord, which is not what you want. You want to get as close as you can all the time and continually work to be refining yourself so that way you can keep closer and closer. And the more you do, the more peace you're going to have in your life, the more joy you're going to have in your life, and you're not going to be so anxious waiting for God to show up or to answer your prayers, because you are going to be so close to him that you're going to be like, man, like, I know I am just moving and grooving with God right now. And everything gets better the closer you get to God. So anyways, that is my spiel for tonight. That's my soapbox. But I hope it serves you, because man, oh man, whenever God was dealing with me on those things, and he was just like, yeah, he's like, whenever I was talking about the Knicks and the Spurs, And I was like, I cannot believe those Knicks fans are just going off like this, going crazy. And they're representing their team and their state awful because of how well the destruction and everything. And he was like, yeah, and there's Christians that do it too. They have on these fake Jesus jerseys and they're out there pushing people away from the kingdom instead of bringing them closer to me. So I was like, ouch. Anyway, so as you go throughout your week, I'm going to pray for you guys. You have the strength to make good decisions and also just to be mindful. I think a lot of times we make decisions just out of habit. And so I'll be praying that you guys just have the mindfulness to be like, ooh, like I almost listened to that. I almost watched that, but guess what? I didn't. I saw this come up on TikTok. I scrolled right by because that is not feeding my spirit good things. Because remember in 2 Timothy 1:7 where it says he's not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. That's what God gives us, right? Power, love, sound mind. But he doesn't say that the spirit of fear doesn't exist. It just says that the spirit of fear is not from God. So the spirit of fear is real. It's just from the enemy. So the more that you keep weeding out these decisions and these choices, and as you fill your space and your spirit with good things, well, you're going to reap the fruit of that. But the opposite is also true. If you are watching murder crime podcasts and like TV shows and you're like, why am I so anxious and fearful every single night? Why do I keep on having dreams of being murdered and I'm not getting good sleep? And the next day I'm exhausted and then I'm, destroying my body with caffeine and I'm trying to go and you feel like you're on a hamster wheel. Well, honey, you're inviting the spirit of fear and all these spirits into your life because you're allowing it to have access to you because you're diving into it. So anyways, but we're going to pray against that this week and today, right now, is going to be a turning point to where you can make good choices for yourself that is going to not only better you and your relationship with God, but it's also going to make you shine brighter for Him, to attract more people to the kingdom, and it's going to be good for you, your families, and all those connected to you. So that is tonight's message. Hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that it blesses you. I really do. It taught me a lot. So if anything, maybe this whole thing was for me because I was like, ooh, like Kelsey needed to have her toes stepped on a little bit. So it was a very corrective toe stepping though, so it's fine. But all right, well, we are going to have church this Sunday at 11 a.m. So if you have not come into Freedom Church, I highly recommend it. Come in, come give us a shot. We also do live streams if you don't live in the area. But if you do, we would absolutely love to see you Sunday at 11 a.m. So that's the next time that I'll probably get to see you. But all right, let's go ahead and do our closing prayer. If you have any prayer requests or praise reports, we love to read those. So please, in the comments below, put any praise reports that you want to like shout God out for. We love it. We love to read it because y'all, God's always active and moving in our lives. And I feel like we're so quick to like post stuff on social media that other people do for us. But like we need to give God more glory. So if God has done something awesome for you, which He's always doing, put that in the comments and give God the praise, and let's do a little praise report. Also, if you're kind of going through a valley season right now and times are looking a little bit rough, maybe you have some stuff going on and life's just a little bit difficult and a little bit hard right now and you have a prayer request, please also, you can put those in the comments, or if it's something a little bit more sensitive, you can go ahead and inbox Freedom Church or reach out to Andy or Jessica, either one. And you can take your prayer request to them and they can help walk you through those seasons because you're not meant to be alone. We are a community, so we want you to reach up and reach out whenever stuff happens so that way we can pray with you and help walk you closer to Jesus. So, all right, everyone, go ahead and close your eyes, bow your heads. Dear God, thank you so much for allowing us to gather here together virtually today. God, I thank you for the message. I thank you for the lesson. I thank you for the corrective stepping on my toes because, God, I do not want to wear a fake Jesus jersey. I want to represent you for real. I want whenever people have anything to do with me, God, that they see you, they see your glory, they see your presence in my life, and that they want more of you, God, and that they draw near to you. God, I pray over everyone that's watching tonight. I pray over the decisions. God, I ask that you help guide them. Guide them in the way that they should go. Help them in their decisions. Help them to stop and pause whenever they're making choices, and to remember that every choice they make, it's either fighting the good fight for the kingdom, or it's aligning with the enemy, God. And help remind them that you're always there, and that if everyone just stops and pauses, and they talk to you, that you will instruct them in the way that they should go. Your word says that when we ask for wisdom, you will give it. So God, as we go through this week, making these decisions, help us to pause, choose the right thing to say, the right thing to listen to, the right thing to watch. God, let us just be absolutely hungry for more of you, and let our decisions align with that decision as we are getting closer to you every single day. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for everything you've done for us. And God, just thank you for everything that is to come. In your son's name I pray. Amen. All right, loves. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your week. See you on Sunday.